You're watching the Western Athletic Conference on ESPN. Women's college basketball in Abilene, Texas on a Saturday night. It's the UTSA Roadrunners at 0-1 and the Abilene Christian Wildcats at 1-0. It should be a fun matchup tonight. And now welcome inside the studio, everybody. Zach Carlisle, along with Cohen Carpenter, glad to have you with us. I'm looking forward to this matchup here. We're going to learn something, early season matchup. Two good teams. This is going to be fun.
For sure, a lot of unknowns in this one. We've got 8 new starters at ACU, the Wildcats do, and for UTSA, they have a new coaching staff altogether, so it's going to be interesting to see how those two things mix and how it shapes up here tonight.
How about our impact players? A couple of point guards. Haley Atwood's going to come off the bench. Cameron Mraz, the starter for ACU.
Both are the facilitators on their respective teams. They both can get a bucket when they need to. Atwood, like you said, is coming off the bench. She had a lot of rebounds in that SFA game, and Mraz put on a shooting show Tuesday against the NAI team they played.
Let's get this thing started, shall we? ACU coming in off of a win Tuesday against the University of the Southwest, and UTSA coming off of a loss to Stephen F. Austin. Should be a good one on a Saturday night. The Roadrunners win the opening tap with Jaden Pimentel and company. And off we go from Abilene, Texas. Charlene Mass, number 11 out there as well. With it right now is number 23, Kylie McGuire in a starting lineup as the opening attempt is no good. And here come the Wildcats with Cameron Mraz, Bella Earl, the freshman, Paige Borski, Tatum Barber, and Sarah Griswold.
It'll be interesting tonight to see how UTSA guards Abilene against their three-point shooting. They had 13 threes in the first half against Southwest alone.
That ball is tapped out of bounds and an early turnover on ACU, a team that scored 99 points. To your point there is this team really can light it up. It's 17 three-pointers Tuesday night. Meanwhile, UTSA coming off of a 50-point effort against a really good Stephen F. Austin bunch that won the Southland Conference a year ago. This is a three from LaPrasia Johnson, the only one in double figures Tuesday night that's no good. Here's Borski, a three the other direction, no good, but an offensive board.
Wildcats looking to facilitate here.
Ooh, 10 to shoot it. They go back door. That's Tatum Barber from Cameron Mraz for the first points of the game.
And the Wildcats, if they're not going to shoot the three on you, they're going to drive in the paint. Coach Goodenough has put a real emphasis on that this season.
A near turnover for Charlene Mass. Oh, it is a turnover for Charlene Mass. As she picked it up, she walked with it. There is Tatum Barber, the graduate student, a transfer from Georgia Southern, first-year Wildcat.
And like you said, 99 points against Southwest on Tuesday for the Wildcats. But there were their fair share of turnovers, so it'll be interesting to see how UTSA exploits that here tonight.
And turnovers were the bugaboo for this team a year ago. They finished 14-13 for ACU. That's what Jaden Pimentel does best. The Lamar transfer gets it up ahead to LaPrasia Johnson to even the game at 2. Pimentel, the all-world point guard for the Lamar Cardinals for the last few years. Guards Mraz. This is a fake. Barber, who had double figures Tuesday. Griswold, mid-range jumper, good.
Griswold, we've seen her from the three-point land a lot this season. A rare long two for her.
And now Pimentel runs a point. Looks like a 2-3 zone defensively for ACU. That three rattles out, no good from Mass. Out of bounds to the Wildcats. I'm excited about this end of the floor too. When UTSA is on offense, want to see their philosophy, especially if you go up against a zone. They shot at 25% Tuesday night against SFA, who runs a zone as well. There is the starting five for the Roadrunners. Pimentel with Blanding in the paint. Big number 3 inside. Mass, Johnson, and McGuire. Barber, kick out 3. Offline, there's the Wildcats starting 5 of Mraz and the freshman Earl. And Borski's a sniper from the three-point line. Barber and Griswold with a little bit of height. Jumper no good from Mass.
A few missed shots early here for both teams.
It's been a slow offensive start, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That pass tapped away and intercepted. Taken away by Blanding. Elena Blanding, a junior from Converse, Texas. See if they can work it into her. Working on Griswold. She's got it. Could not score on the baseline. Put back no good from McGuire, but a foul.
And that's kind of what we've seen all game. She was really wide open for a good portion of her time there in the paint. Just couldn't come down with the bucket.
That is her first foul. Team's first foul.
And then Blanding caught it. Looked like she had a free release there on that baseline. Couldn't get it to go. 3.5 minutes gone by, and the first free throws of this game come from Kylie McGuire, the sophomore, who lines it up and is no good on the first one, making the first start of her season.
UTSA Roadrunners only shot over 50% from the free throw line against Stephen F. Austin on Tuesday.
And they're 0 for 2 to start the night, but the rebound and the putback no good from Blanding. ACU with the 2-point cushion. Miraz, she nearly turns it over. Possession arrow. There is head coach Julie Goodenough in her 10th year with ACU. Record is nearly 100 games over 500 with the Wildcats, which has included 3 Southland Conference championships. And a 24-win campaign 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, she's been nothing short of dominant in her tenure.
Barber to Griswold. Second mid-range jumper's good. Her bread and butter. When ACU runs that half-court offense, they've executed. Otherwise, there's been some turnover issues. LaPrasia Johnson trying to open something up. UTSA against this zone D. Can they find something? Barber got her hand on the ball. Just 5 to shoot it for the Roadrunners. And Pimentel's gonna launch it. And no good at the shot clock buzzer. And the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, it's never good when you're forced to take a shot from Steph Curry range, but UTSA doing a good job of moving the ball here early on.
Karen Aston, head coach, first year for UTSA. A lot of unknowns. You and I were talking about that before we came on the air tonight. ACU's got a lot of new players, UTSA 9 new players, and a brand new coaching staff as well.
Obviously, you see there her career record is very good. 2 very great coaches going up against each other, Goodenough and Aston.
Aston was at Texas and Charlotte and North Texas as well. Taylor Morgan, a backup point guard, sophomore from Fort Worth, Texas, hit 3 threes Tuesday night in the win over Southwest. Offensive board by number 31, Maddie Miller, who's into the game. Barber, long 2. Foul first, or was the foul on the floor? The foul is apparently, I believe, on Charlene Mass.
Roadrunners, number 11, Charlotte Moss. That is her first foul, team's second foul.
Wildcats obviously not afraid to shoot the 3 ball here. Just need to trying to get it to land. Haven't made one yet.
ACU 0 for its first 3. And a steal. Taken away by Pimentel, who is just unreal at that. And they'll get it up ahead in a lay-in for Juliana Valcheva, who's able to knock it down.
That was just a textbook fast break point off of a very good defensive play.
Valcheva from Bulgaria, transfer from Western Nebraska Community College. And a turnover here takes us to our first time out of the ball game. ACU leading 6-4. ACU leading 6-4 early on in a game, Cohen, that has really just kind of taken its time to get going. The offenses have really struggled early on.
For sure, like I was saying earlier, UTSA, they've done a really good job of moving the ball around, and they have had some open shots. They've just failed to take them, and when they do take them, they come up short most of the time.
Well, so they're shooting 22%. ACU is shooting 50% from the floor, but 5 turnovers in the game's first 5 minutes. What are your thoughts on that side of the floor?
Well, that's obviously not how you win a basketball game. What ACU needs to do is they need to get back to their bread and butter, which is getting hot from downtown.
And if they can hold off and, not turn it over and just give themselves a chance.
Yeah, and like you were saying, that was a big point of emphasis last season, which led to the uncharacteristic 14-13 season for the Wildcats. So Coach Goodenough went out, got some grad transfers, 5 new freshmen. This is almost a completely different ball team.
And a lot of those new folks are going to have all kinds of opportunities to play and contribute and make plays. The fouls you see on your screen, pretty low so far. 2 on the Roadrunners, 1 on ACU. A little bit of ball pressure here from ACU to force the second UTSA turnover. And then ACU is going to give it right back to the Roadrunners. And then maybe another. It's a jump ball, and the arrow is going to stay with UTSA. Boy, that was a little weird. A lot going on there.
Yeah. And like you were saying, though, this Wildcat team is very deep. Against that Tuesday game when they were playing Southwest, I believe every single Wildcat player on their roster got time on the floor.
Pimentel going to run the point guard spot. Set a lot of single-season steal records at Lamar, a part of one of those great defenses that finished 17-1 3 years ago in the Southland Conference regular season to win the regular season championship. That shot no good and out of bounds, and ACU's going to come up with it. And the Roadrunners are 1 of their last 7 from the floor. We'll see who can get something going offensively. Waiting for the action here in the first quarter, so we're almost 6 minutes in.
If it's going to be anyone, it's probably going to be through Mraz, number 0 there on the Wildcats.
Griswold, oh, look at that jab step, and the three's offline. 1 for 1 from 3 on Tuesday, which is something she doesn't do a lot. Misses that 3 this time. I'm curious to see the style of this game. UTSA, if they may want to try to slow this down and, kind of make it a little ugly. And ACU loves to get up and down the floor and fly. And so far, I think it's UTSA who's kind of dictating the tempo of the game. For sure. Pimentel, I thought maybe she was going for the shot. Goes inside, and that is an and 1 for UTSA. It is Queen Ulabo who gets it to go.
And that's just a great pass there by the Roadrunners, getting over big number 23 Griswold there to get the ball in the paint and set up that 3-point play.
Ulabo, a junior out of Nigeria to transfer from Barton Community College. Is able to get it to go on that free throw to give UTSA the early 7-6 lead. Into Mirage. The little underhand may have been deflected. It is Barber. Kind of a weak side 3-pointer. That's tapped away, and it's going to stay with ACU, much to the dislike.
And Barber from that wing position, she was really good Tuesday against Southwest. If they want to get back ahead in this game, they're going to have to start making those open threes.
Jamie Von Nerens, number 20, into the ball game. Graduate transfer. Played in a couple of different schools before coming to ACU. Cameron, Division II level, and then Colorado State. And Emma Middleton, the Lubbock Christian transfer. Missing that one, but ACU another opportunity, and Maddie Miller gives it away. It's Pimentel. Transition layup is good.
And that was just a textbook Euro step right there. Way to get around the defender and get that easy bucket, making it look easy.
It's a 7-0 run in 2 minutes for UTSA. Raz has it poked away again. Von Nerens, that's a tough-looking shot. She made that look easier than it was. That's an and 1. Little turnaround move.
Turnaround fadeaway is not a everyday move, especially that you see nowadays. But Von Nerens, like you said, makes it look easy.
Foul on Ulabo right there. How about that? Smooth looking right there for Von Nerens. Came off the bench Tuesday night as well. Originally from the state of Oklahoma, scored 6 points Tuesday.
And like we were talking about, Bon Aaron's his first season at ACU, one of those transfers that Coach Goodenough brought in.
Scored over 1,300 career points at those 2 previous stops. 9-9 ball game after the and 1 free throw. Lob inside. Middleton trying to defend. Tough to do against the 6'5" Elena Blanding. Raz trying to take on Pimentel. Those two have matched up against each other before. When Pimentel spent all that time at Lamar, a former Southland Conference rival, and now current WAC rival. With Abilene Christian, Miraz will shoot 2.
It's going to be a very interesting matchup for the rest of this game, watching Pimentel versus Miraz. Pimentel's really emerging as the Roadrunners' leader on this offense. She's either scoring or assisting in many of their points here tonight, and like we've already mentioned in the pregame, Miraz is one of the big facilitators for the Wildcats and their offense.
Coach Goodenough talking to her top assistant, associate head coach Erica Lambert. Miraz good on the first free throw. Interesting career for Miraz. Injuries in both of her first 2 seasons. Broke one foot, then broke the other foot, and has dealt with that. And last year was the first year starting and playing a significant amount of time. And now comes in as a redshirt junior in her 4th year with the program. This ball is loose. Is it a travel? Or is it maybe a foul? I think it's just a turnover on LaPrasia Johnson, who might have just slipped out there on the floor.
It looks like it. And yeah, like you were saying, Miraz, one of the leaders here in this program. It's going to be one of the big points of emphasis to watch tonight is who can turn over the ball the least. I think that's going to go a long way in determining this game's winner.
And to your point, right now, so far, ACU's turned it over 7 times, 3 for UTSA. Bella Earl, the freshman, on the left wing. Middleton turns it over on a travel.
Just a little bit of sloppy ball movement, and it just seems like a little bit of lack of concentration. Very uncharacteristic, I would say, of a good enough team.
UTSA has made each of its last 3 shots. See if they fire one up here. Baseline drive, hand check foul on Maddie Miller with 1:37 left in the first quarter.
And that shot there by Atwood for the Roadrunners. She's coming off the bench, and she's very energetic, like we said again in the pregame broadcast.
That's a charge taken by Miller.
Atwood's going to be one of the facilitators for the Roadrunners here. Even though she's coming off the bench, she's going to have a lot of energy.
Blanding, the center, called for the charge. And so it was off the ball prior to the inbound where Blanding knocked over Miller, and so the player control foul, and ACU back to work. Miller's going baseline, and
looks like the foul there. She's going to go to the line.
Is that an and one?
Going to go to the line for a 3-point play here.
I don't think she did. I think it might be a foul on the floor, and I believe it is bonus free throws. So they're going to wipe off the basket. That does not count. So it's 2 bonus fouls for Miller. 5 now for UTSA, puts ACU in the bonus for the final 1:27. To break the tie, no good. Maddie Miller was held scoreless Tuesday night and had a couple of chances there at the line, but went 0 for 2. Rise and fire short from Mass. Middleton on that little bounce catch. Turn, how did that not go? Gets her own board. Miller for 3. Oh, got it back. Oh, she somehow stole it from Blanding and is going to shoot 2.
And that's just an effort play right there. As we saw, she takes that shot from the wing. She's able to work her way all the way down to the paint and be there for that rebound. Now she's going to go to the line for 2.
Watch the miss from Miller, and then she goes and gets the ball. Really well done.
Yeah, number 3 there, Blanding for the Roadrunners, just didn't expect her at all to be there, had the ball out. for Miller to take.
And then they call the foul on McGuire, 23, and Miller hits the free throw for her first point of the season. Maddie Miller, the senior out of Wiley, Texas. Not Wiley High School in Abilene, Texas, but Wiley High School in Wiley, Texas. We asked her about that, and she says, yeah, that happens a lot over here. People think I went to Abilene, Wiley. Turns out, not the case, as she's from Wiley, Texas. The 2 free throws put the Wildcats in front by a pair with a minute left. The offenses have definitely picked up a little bit, but overall still a very defensive and turnover-heavy first quarter. Into the paint. Ball's loose. Coleman couldn't convert. And then a reach-in foul, I believe, on UTSA.
Yet another turnover here early on. Wildcats need to capitalize on it. 2-point lead is not safe.
Charlene Mass with the foul. And it's going to put Emma Middleton at the line.
Wildcats will be number 4, Emma Middleton.
Middleton scored about a little over 680 points in her time at Lubbock Christian, a national champion at the Division II level.
And that's great for the culture, too, bringing in a champion who knows what it's like to go on the big stage and to win on the big stage. It's great for the locker room. It's great for everyone else on the team.
And is a career 75% free throw shooter. Hits a pair there. Around a 10-second difference between the game and the shot clock. ACU with its largest lead at 4. Ball's tapped off of Bonnerens out of bounds. UTSA with 13 to shoot it. It's a 6-0 run for ACU in almost 2 minutes.
UTSA is trying to feed number 0, Alyssa Coleman, down in the paint, but the Wildcats are doing a fairly good job of making sure that she doesn't get her hands on the ball very much.
Emily Beck, number 13 out there, 5 to shoot it for Johnson. Here is a kick out 3 for Coleman, no good. 10 seconds for ACU. Bonnerens with 3 seconds. Tough shot. She's got free throws with 2.3.
That was a great recognition right there by Bonnerens. She was throwing up. She may not have been, she made it very close, but I think she was looking for the foul there to make sure she goes to the free throw line.
And I think a lot of people may shy away from that, and they'll take the long 3 or whatever at the buzzer. Go in and see if you can go get fouled here. And Bonnerens no good on the first free throw.
Exactly. It's very, very James Harden-esque, where where you go in and you try to get fouled.
That's
go to
right.
the free throw line.
Second foul shot good. ACU 8 free throws made in the quarter. Final seconds, and it's a half-court heave that falls short. We didn't see a 3, but ACU leads 16-11. You're watching The Whack on ESPN.
The Community Day.
Back in the Teague Special Events Center for the start of the second quarter. Abilene Christian leading UTSA 16-11. Glad to have you with us on a Saturday night for WAC Women's Hoops on ESPN. Zach Carlisle along with Cohen Carpenter. The whole gang, ACUTV student-run crew led by Hutton Harris in the studio. Glad to have you with us. How about this? Neither team hit a 3. ACU's got 8 more rebounds, and they've been to the foul line, but the turnovers have hurt them, and they somehow still lead by 5 after 1.
For sure, and it's very uncharacteristic of this Wildcat team to have this drought from downtown. However, they are still up by 5 with plenty of turnovers, so I think if you're coach good enough, you can look at that and say, well, we've got our fundamentals down if we can just, fix up the sloppiness.
That's a loose ball off the hands of Haley Atwood. Came off the bench tonight. There's a lob in for Bella Earl. Transition look. The freshman no good. Second chance. Tatum Barber drives. Got it. That's pretty smooth looking there. Tatum Barber from Argyle, Texas. We mentioned one of the 3 graduate transfers for this Abilene Christian team. Well, if you're UTSA, now all of a sudden you're down by 7. It's been a current 9-0 run that spanned the last part of the first quarter and early here in the second quarter. No good inside from Coleman. Roadrunners are searching for some answers right now. See what ACU does to try to execute in the half court, and Earl draws a foul. The fouls have definitely gone ACU's way. They took 11 free throw attempts in the first quarter to just 3 from UTSA.
And I think if you're the Roadrunners, you've got to focus on feeding your bigs down in the paint, because you're probably not going to beat the Wildcats 3-point wise. They almost took half of their 3-point shots in the last game. You've got to focus on feeding your 6'3" Alyssa Coleman down there, who hasn't scored in the paint yet.
And I think it goes back to our style conversation, right? Does UTSA want to slow it down, go inside out, make things happen there? ACU goes to Middleton. That layup, no, but a foul. It's a late whistle, but a foul. Middleton's going to shoot 2. If you take away the turnovers from Abilene Christian, they've really kind of dictated everything they've wanted to in this game so far.
For sure, and I believe that most of these Wildcat turnovers, as Middleton makes the first one, most of these Wildcat turnovers have just been errors. Some errors forced by the defense, but a lot of mental things that they can definitely fix.
Well, we'll see what UTSA does here. Down by 9. Current 11-0 ACU run. Back to that 2-3 zone defense for ACU. And UTSA is 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. Mid-range jumper, Johnson, no good. And an over-the-back foul on the Roadrunners. Already their 3rd foul of the second quarter.
And another thing that this Wildcat team has going for them, like we've mentioned before, Pimentel played for Lamar for the past 4 years in the same conference as ACU, so you'd think that going into this she'd have some form of scouting report in her head on how to beat this Wildcats team. However, like we mentioned, 8 newcomers to this roster, and a lot of them, almost all of them, see the court routinely. It's kind of hard to defend against that when you don't know who you're playing against.
Miraz lost it and then commits the foul. That's the double whammy right there.
And that's really what's keeping the Roadrunners in this game so far.
Team's first foul of the second quarter.
A minute 40 into this. Abilene Christian with its largest lead at 9. Miraz is going to leave the game. Taylor Morgan's going to come in. And I imagine that conversation probably involves, hey, when you turn it over, don't then commit the foul.
For sure.
UTSA trying to figure out this 2-3 zone. They cannot solve those answers. Oh, then there's a rebound. Put back is no good from Valcheva. And then the jump ball and the arrow is going to go to ACU. I mean, UTSA just cannot figure out this 2-3 zone. What are you seeing on this end of the floor?
I really think that they have had looks where they are open and they have had open shots. They've just failed to facilitate on those opportunities.
Here's a drive. That's Morgan. She'll draw a foul.
And as we mentioned earlier, Miraz comes out for Taylor Morgan, but Taylor Morgan was one of the leading scorers there on Tuesday against Southwest. And she had 15 points, and she made a career-high 3 three-pointers against Southwest. Maybe good enough is looking for a little something to keep that offense fueled and going here.
And he had Pimentel and Valcheva in there committing the foul. The foul goes on Valcheva, and this is Morgan at the line, who has her first points of the game with the free throw. All of a sudden, ACU has doubled up the Roadrunners. And it's currently, this game was 11-9, and it is currently a 13-0 run for Abilene Christian.
And all without making a 3.
Very strange.
Very strange indeed.
That 3 was desperate to fall from Atwood, no good. ACU a chance to run, but it's Barber 1-on-4. Morgan for 3, no. And a foul on the rebound attempt. And I believe it's on Bella Earl for ACU.
Number 3, Bella Earl. That is her first foul. Team's second foul.
And a little bit of this may be UTSA watching the film from last Tuesday, seeing what the Wildcats did, and overcommitting to that defense on the three, maybe leaving a little bit of those long twos and those drives in the paint open.
Pimentel thought about it. We have seen a combined 0 for 12 tonight from the three-point line. Into the paint, ball's tapped away. Nearly a turnover. Johnson trying to do something, that's a foul.
And of course, you do have to take this into consideration. NCAA did move back the three-point line. They made it equal for men and women. So you're going to have a bit of those, like we said, 5 freshmen on this Wildcat team. They're coming in from high school and they moved back, almost 36 inches from where it was last season. So there is a little bit of adjustment, a little bit of a learning curve, because even every basketball player will tell you the slightest difference in distances can change the way you shoot. It'll be interesting to see how that affects every team across NCAA the rest of the season.
So here is Johnson at the line after playing her career at Nevada, a grad transfer for UTSA. Remember last year with COVID, everybody gets a free year, so a lot more grad transfers in the portal, chance to go get another degree maybe, or even if you started a grad program somewhere, you could go finish it and go get that playing time. This ball is loose. It was a popcorn machine in there, and it is a jump ball. We've seen a million of those tonight. The possession goes with UTSA.
Yeah, and it's important that if you are playing a sloppy game, you also have to have that effort, and you got to get on and correct those mistakes that you may have made throughout the game.
And so Wildcats will have it with 6:51 left in the quarter.
A very common quote is that great plays are often the outcome of uncommon effort. So you see that a little bit there, especially with that popcorn play like you mentioned, is going after the ball and really putting your body on the line to try and give your team a chance.
Pimentel right wing, 3, no good, and the rebound to Morgan.
Morgan, only a sophomore, looking to facilitate this offense.
Comes Morgan again. Really came on 6 double-digit games in her last 10 at the end of her freshman campaign, and that's a nice move there.
That was textbook. She went under, around, over, and in for 2.
Pimentel, not a crazy dangerous three-point shooter, really does more of the drive in that, the rise and fire. That's no good. Rebound to Atwood, loose ball, foul.
That was number 1, Atwood, going down pretty hard there, taking the foul.
Let's see if it's a shooting foul. 5:51 left.
Looked like she may have been in the process of going up.
Pimentel takes a seat, Cheyenne Mass comes in. And free throws for Atwood. Both teams will be in the bonus the rest of the way now, 4 fouls apiece. Atwood no good on the free throw. You talked about it. Well, UTSA so far, it's early. It's very early. We're in game 2. Free throws have been an issue.
For sure. And Atwood, not one of the leading scorers, especially last game they played against SFA Tuesday. She only had 5 points. However, she was all over the court, very energetic. She had 7 rebounds in that game. Really helped them stay in there. As the layup attempt is no good by the Wildcats.
UTSA needs a field goal. It has been quite a while. They don't have one in the quarter yet. They had the free throw to break that stretch, which was a 15-0 run. Mid-range jumper, that's no good. Putback finally falls for UTSA. They needed something to go.
And maybe that's a spark that gets their offense going here in the second quarter.
And that was Queen Ulabo finally breaking the trend to make it a 10-point game. Underneath, it's Griswold. Mid-range, squares up, buries it. Boy, she is smooth in the mid-range game. See what UTSA does. ACU, this zone is really giving them fits.
For sure, Roadrunners are struggling to find an open shot right now.
And there you go. You can screen in the zone. That's something I think might be forgotten sometimes. That's a putback attempt that's no good. Von Narens with a board.
What the Roadrunners need right now is they just need a momentum changer. That could be on offense, that could be on defense, but they need a big play. They needed to get their bench into it so they can snap this run.
Griswold squares up again. This time goes to the dish with the bounce, and it will go out of bounds to UTSA. ACU, 12-point lead. They have dominated the first half so far in Abilene, Texas.
Online at Abilene Christian.
Talking to her team here as ACU with the 12-point lead. I think there's a lot to like about Abilene Christian so far here tonight.
For sure, they're a very versatile team. What we saw last Tuesday, as we mentioned multiple times against Southwestern, they relied on that three-point ball, and they didn't commit very many fouls. In this game, they've committed a lot of fouls, and they have in a drought from three right now. However, you still look at that scoreboard, it's 26-14. That's because of the team's versatility. They've got so many of those players that can do so many things. We've seen them hit long twos, and we've seen Griswold come up in the paint with nice Euro steps. We've seen a little bit from Morgan. Everyone has contributed to this game, and again, all without hitting a three.
Meanwhile, for UTSA, this 2-3 zone defense that ACU is running, what do you see from them? How do you feel like they got to figure out how to attack this thing?
Like you said, before we went into the break there, they just forgot how to set picks. They got one, they set one pick, and they made a fairly good drive to the paint, didn't capitalize on the opportunity, but I think if we see a little bit more of that from the Roadrunners, they could change the tides of war here pretty quickly.
UTSA on offense, shooting just 21% from the floor. High-low action, that's not a bad move either. Trying to get some things going. McGuire has it tapped away. Inbound comes from Atwood. We highlighted her in the open. Pimentel, nope, offensive foul. Griswold takes a charge. That's the second charge taken by ACU defensively tonight.
Just not giving the Roadrunners any chance to breathe here. They're pounding them. This defense has been very effective up until this point in the game.
And weirdly enough, they've both been before the pass was made on inbound plays. Maddie Miller trying to post up at the elbow and a foul. Boy, those fouls have really, really added up. And this one's going to go on on Mass, I believe, 22.
Number 22,
Cyan Mass and Charlene Mass.
And now for the Roadrunners is number 12, LaPrasia Johnson.
And getting into bonus here so early on has played a very crucial role in this game. Wildcats have been to the line a lot here tonight.
Maddie Miller, all of her points have come from the free throw line. 3 for 5 so far in the early part of the game. 3 for 6. Oh boy, I could put the kibosh on anybody. When I say they're doing things well, you know they're about to miss the next shot. Lead is 13 for ACU. Johnson got it to go. I believe it's a long two. It is.
And that's just the type of shot that they need to start taking more. If the Roadrunners want to get back in these games, they're going to have to work their ways into open looks and capitalize on them.
Morgan, her three, no. Off that double screen, a very signature ACU play. Then the ball's loose. Earl got her hand on it, and Barber lays it in after the turnover.
And we've seen that from Barber all game, is that uncommon effort.
High-low picked off. Barber's got a takeaway. One-hander pass. That is tapped off of Miller. Is it going to go to UTSA? Yes, it is. Off of Miller. Roadrunner ball. So here's the miss and then the steal. Look at that,
Yeah.
Earl.
And that's just Maddie Miller having the wherewithal to be in the right spot at the right time.
Left wing for Johnson. UTSA just 5 points this quarter. Johnson no good. She was the only one in double figures, scored 13 Tuesday against SFA. Put back here from Elena Blanding. Well, you figure at 6'5", she'd have some chances there in the paint.
Yeah, and you'd figure at 6'5", she'd have a lot more points here in this part of the game. But again, like you're saying, this zone defense is working wonders for the Wildcats.
Into the paint, Emma Middleton. That one catch, one bounce, and score.
Roadrunners' offense kind of coming alive here a little bit in the second quarter. However, the Wildcats, every chance they've gotten, they've responded.
It's a 15-7 quarter. The advantage to ACU. Zone D again. Johnson trying to figure something out. Corner three, Pimentel, no. Miller rebounds this time. Minute and a half until the break. And coming up at the intermission, we'll have the halftime report. In the studio, we'll break down the first half, get you ready for half number 2 as well. Another turnover. ACU's 12th, but just their 4th in the second quarter.
Definitely doing a better job of that here. Coach Goodenough must have given him a speech in the timeout.
Oh, an extra step out for Blanding, and she missed it all.
And those are those open looks that we've been talking about, those open looks that you've got to come away with points on. You've done a good job to put yourself in that position, because with this Wildcat defense, you're not going to find a lot of holes. Well, there you go. You found a hole in the defense, but to come up with a miss there, you're not going to win a basketball game like that.
Also in now for the Roadrunners, number 22, Cyan.
Substitution, Cyan Mass for UTSA and Jamie Bonnerans for ACU. Final minute of the second quarter. Ball's tapped away off the hands of Atwood. It'll stay with ACU. Plenty of time to shoot.
Hello?
And one of the
Hello?
issues that Karen Aston, the Roadrunners coach, is going to have to address when they go into this halftime break is
it's loud.
you've got a group of players here, some transfers, some freshmen. You've got to get them to work together, get them to have a cohesive offense and defensive effort.
Nice inbound.
Really efficient there by the Wildcats.
We have still yet to see a three-pointer fall. This is Johnson. That mid-range jumper is no good. Johnson back for Atwood, the three, no. Both teams are, let's see, a combined 0 for 18.
Yeah, it's a battle of who can adapt now, because obviously the three ball isn't working for anyone. So who can facilitate offense elsewhere?
High-low, Middleton, 5 seconds. That rolls in the final seconds. Emma Middleton with the exclamation point on the first half for Abilene Christian. 19-7 quarter. They lead at 35-18, and halftime on ESPN is next.
The community at ACUTV is unlike any other community I've ever been a part of.
It's a strong and loving community. Honestly, they've presented me with so many opportunities to excel and try new things and really stretch myself every time I work a game.
ACUTV is definitely my favorite thing that I do on campus. I definitely would recommend this to people coming in. No matter what major you are, you're gonna learn and you're gonna make a lot of friends that you wouldn't know otherwise.
ACUTV is just a great place to be, and it's a great place to help me learn and grow as a journalism major and just in my future career in sports journalism.
It's like I'm happy to come to work. I get to see all my friends. We get to do what we love to do, honestly. And so the family atmosphere is amazing here. Everyone loves each other, and it's just like a family reunion every Saturday or throughout the week.
It was all just a really good and well-rounded learning experience for me that I really enjoyed, and getting to work with all different kinds of people that weren't from my major was also really beneficial.
They care about you as a person, you're friends, you want to work together, and so you build each other up. And it's just a very positive environment. It's a great place to start learning how to be a professional.
This job preps you for the real world by giving you the experience. I have friends at other schools where they're not getting the experience until their very last year, whereas this job gets you your experience your freshman year.
Especially as a freshman, it's a great experience from the start because at other schools you wouldn't probably get your hands on like this expensive equipment until you're an intern somewhere or a senior, but we get to start freshman year first week. That's a big part of ACUTV and like the journalism department here at ACU. Like you get that experiential learning from the start and it's great.
This is an opportunity that I would not have had if I would have chosen maybe a larger state school. For me to be able to weekly practice writing things, preparing things, producing things, anchoring, being in front of the camera, I would not have had that opportunity had I have chosen any other school.
The fraternity will raise money.
This has professional value, and this is something that can be looked at as a start of a career, and this is something that you can use to jump into the industry if that's what you would like to do, the broadcasting industry.
It really provides that great experience for us, that professional experience, just right off the bat while we're in college. And it's really, really fantastic to be able to work with other students who are going through the same problems as you. Being able to perform at that same high level is even more rewarding.
Definitely the opportunities that have been given, being able to, really show what I can do, show what we can do as a program was really just something that you really can't get anywhere else.
It has been phenomenal working with the equipment that we have at ACUTV. It makes me so happy that we can have professional level equipment at every game we bring to. An opportunity that I can guarantee a lot of students across this nation don't have access to. We've been blessed with.
I love the studio. I was just so impressed by the facility that y'all had in there and all the different technologies, and I was eager to get my hands on it. I love working at ACUTV because I have new technologies and new devices that I get a chance to work with, and I have to perfect how I work at them, and then I get to contribute to the group.
ESPN or really any live sports is kind of a high pressure situation, and you kind of have to do things instantly. I think that I've really learned how to work well under pressure. It's been a very valuable experience for me.
It teaches you just networking with others, and it teaches you teamwork because this isn't something you can do alone. This takes it takes an army to be able to pull off a game day broadcast.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of things going on at once. You have to be able to listen. There's a lot of collaboration that goes into that, and be able to work with people and just run on a really tight, busy schedule.
Working at ACUTV, being able to have the opportunity to work with a big company like ESPN is probably one of the best things I could ask for at ACU. Being able to just work with industry professionals but also be a student is an awesome experience.
It's really cool being able to see your work be put up nationally. Friends and family seeing your production on TV, seeing what you're doing on TV, really makes it a reality. It's nationwide.
I've always had a long-time dream of working with ESPN, and so just to have that experience here at ACU as a freshman is something I didn't expect. Just to be able to be on ESPN Plus was awesome. I didn't expect to have that opportunity, and so I'm very, very grateful for it.
Having the chance to do my dream job. Literally to stand on the sideline, be on camera on ESPN, and do sideline reporting. That's been a dream of mine, a bucket list thing of mine ever since I was a little kid. So being able to live my dream out through ACUTV was an incredible opportunity for me.
The first game that I broadcast on ESPN Plus, I was 19 years old. You're not going to get that many chances outside of ACU, not to mention as such a small university to offer something as big as ESPN for students is, again, it's 1 in a million. The chances of getting that opportunity is just incredible, not only for your resume, but also to build your own credibility. It's something that very few students get the chance to partake in, and that's something that ACUTV offers. In the past month, we did the watch party, and we had a volleyball game the same day, and just the ability to pack up and then go and shoot an event 5 hours later, that's amazing to me. That just kind of shows the spirit of ACU TV, we're show ACU what we're really made of,
Best experience this year
Easily the watch party with UT and ACU, getting to work that.
Down goes Texas! Goliath has fallen!
It felt amazing, but it was also one of the most hectic things in the world, having to work camera, but also wanting to watch the game.
Has taken down Texas!
Anticipating election night is officially here in the ACUTV or studios. Good evening, everyone. I'm Owen Simpson alongside Emily Schaefer. We have a lot to talk about.
The election show was absolutely insane, and I think that in 30 years, I'll still look back on that show and just be incredibly proud of what I did. Even as a 19-year-old doing it, I think that I will always be proud because I'm so insanely proud right now of how it turned out.
Being able to be a floor manager throughout the whole night, it was a great experience. It felt like it was a real election show, whether on CNN or any other major news outlet, and it was great to get that experience because that's what it's going to be like for us in the future.
So the election show really shaped my experience because it really gave me confidence in, like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I can do this kind of stuff. I can help produce, you know, however many hours of live coverage that we put together. I can be on live television, I can write, I can do all of this stuff. And so it was really an eye-opener for me that, you know, I don't just write news stories and I don't just work graphics for ESPN, that I can do everything. And that's something I think has been really valuable about working at ACUTV, is it gives students the opportunity to do everything.
When I graduate, I could have a year or even 4 years of experience working with ESPN production, whether it be camera operating, directing, technical directing, or being in front of the camera, being an analyst.
I've learned so much, and it's enough to make you look at it and go, this is a starting point for my career. I'm not just hanging out and getting my degree and then being thrown out into the waters. You can sit there and say, I know what I'm doing.
It's a whole group of people who have to learn how to collaborate and organize together. It's a lot of people who know how to do their jobs really well, and they all get together and they create something amazing.
Caught for the touchdown!
It sometimes might feel like they're just like throwing you, but at the same time, there are people around you who are on that same journey with you, and students should be excited to come to ACU and work for a place like ACUTV.
Halftime in Abilene, Texas. ACU leading UTSA 35-18 for women's college basketball. So, ACU TV's Student Run crew had a chance to sit down with Dr. Neil Santana, the Assistant Professor of Art and Design. Take a look at this.
My name is Neil Santana. I'm Associate Professor of Art and Design here at ACU. So I think about 3 years ago, we did a major renovation of this set, and then we built the first one. It was maybe mid-fall last year when we talked about the possibility of adding a second part to the studio, and I believe that's when our first conversations took place. Well, eventually, I could not say no to a project like this, right? You know me, and we've been collaborating on a few other projects. And this is exactly the kind of project that gets me excited. Yeah, soft aperture. And I guess maybe because we had already done, right, the previous one, this one seemed like a natural flow to me to be part of the project. For us, I think the challenge was kind of keeping a little bit of what we had done in the past and what this new set would be like. And the brainstorming really begins with taking notes and kind of getting a sense of what is your vision, what do you like for the set to be. And I think we went from there. We just started brainstorming together. Initially just making some quick sketches, drawing on a piece of paper, and then after that, beginning some renderings. And then eventually using a CAD software to help visualize, and it's primarily to help you guys see what I see. And then from there, we built the 3D mock-up, just like a small prototype, to kind of get a more of a spatial kind of idea of what that would look like. There were so many cool things about this project. One being me learning how to weld, in which I had never welded a major project like this. So that was one of the things that kind of, got me in the morning, and I couldn't wait to come here to the studio and then begin welding. The difference between this new edition and then the previous frame, the previous set, is that we used a wooden frame, but with the new one, doing a steel frame allowed us to do so much more and create so many more kind of details and accents and visual textures, like the way that the grill casts on the back wall. So I think to me that is really the highlight of this set. In so many ways, the quality of the set is really professional. We were able to work it out with the budget that we had to begin with, but we didn't limit our creativity to that budget. And the whole process challenged us to be creative. And the set itself is a sign of creativity that takes form on how can we work around a specific budget, but then make this set to look like it was maybe 4 or 5 times more than that. And that's what I'm very proud of, what we have done here. It is certain that this new edition will better serve our students. And I think that was clear from the beginning why you guys wanted to add this piece to the existing set. Knowing the program, being a former student of the program many years ago, I understood the importance of having a studio that would be so beneficial in that sense, and all the work that has been put in place, from the control room and then all these behind the scenes things that we don't see when you have the end product on TV or YouTube channels and social media channels. But for me, it was like keeping up the challenge and knowing that what I was doing here would impact students in so many ways. And I really hope it makes me really happy when I see a group of students here running, doing broadcasting, and really enjoying this space as they should.
Pretty nice feature, wasn't it? I mean, look at this place. Are you kidding me? ACUTV. And the studio is incredible. We have halftime here. ACU leading UTSA 35-18. Zach Carlisle and Cohen Carpenter, glad to have you with us. How about a weird first half, right? ACU has really controlled it from the get-go, but they haven't done it the way they usually do. They haven't made a three-pointer yet tonight.
For sure, like you mentioned, no threes at all and a lot of fouls. But what I think Coach Goodenough has done a really good job emphasizing is the versatility of this team, because they're able to shake it up. They're able to go down low, and we've seen that Middleton, especially hitting those long twos, somewhat uncharacteristic, especially if you're watching Tuesday's game of this offense.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, you're looking at the first half breakdown there, 19-7 there in that second quarter. And, it's been a lot of the interior game. You mentioned it, Middleton 8 points. Barber's got 6. Sarah Griswold also has 6. It's been an inside effort for ACU. It's really been fun to watch.
For sure, and they've done a really good job of passing the ball around, giving everyone looks, and really waiting for that open player and not taking inefficient shots. They've waited for an open look to where hey, I'm going to shoot this, I'm going to know that it's going to go in, and they do it.
Well, let's look at the UTSA side of things here. Just 7 points in the quarter. There was a real stretch where they couldn't even get a field goal to go. They had a free throw. But outside of that, how did they get things going offensively? They're going to have to score it here a little bit in the third quarter, try to get back in this thing.
Yeah, well, they just got to do what Abilene Christian was doing, and that is they've done a good job up until this point of getting the ball around, and they have had open looks. They just need to make sure that their players know that, hey, when we get an open look, we're not going to see it for all that much, so we've got to take a shot here, and we've got to start biting into that lead.
Would you have guessed, I mean, I know I wouldn't have, could you believe that if I would have told you coming into this thing, it'd be 35-18 at halftime, and neither team would have a three-pointer? I think I would have told you were crazy. I mean, this is crazy.
For sure. And if you were also to tell me the amount of fouls that the Wildcats have had and still putting up 35 points, I would have told you you're even crazier.
15 fouls on UTSA in that first half. resulted to all of those free throws, 13 of 17 at the foul line. And away we go in quarter number 3. Well, maybe.
Yet.
I don't think the clock started, and I think they have to do that,
Yeah, they kind of
according to the rule book. And we're connected to the scoreboard in the arena. They're going to take, I think, a couple of seconds off.
Yeah, but going back to the free throws, that's definitely played a very large part in today's game, and the simple math of it is the Wildcats have made more. They've been to the line more, and they've made more, and that's why you see 35 and 18 down there at the bottom of your screen.
5 starters on the floor for both sides. That's high-low. Griswold into Barber, and a foul called. Barber, kind of a guard-forward hybrid, but provides some length at the position, and a great pass from Griswold as well.
For sure, great length and very athletic, as we saw there. It was either foul her or let her go up for 2 right there.
So right on brand, the early foul of the third goes against the Roadrunners, and Barber makes them pay with a free throw. It's her first attempts of the night. And a second one drops down as well. 2-0 start to the third for ACU. First meeting between these two teams since 2016. UTSA has won 3 of the only 4 matchups these two teams have played. All 3 wins came in San Antonio, and the only ACU win came here in Abilene. There's an early field goal, and that just, you can breathe a little bit if you're UTSA. Queen Ulabo got it to go. And ACU answers right back with Sarah Griswold. You noticed that in the first half as well.
For sure. Definitely in that second quarter, when the Roadrunners offense was starting to pick up steam, the Wildcats were doing a great job of going back down on their side of the court and responding accordingly.
Oh, off the hands of Johnson. She's out there with Mass, Pimentel. Number 5 is Yuliana Vachuva. High-low, inside, and Ulabo had it knocked away. Here come the Cats. Barber, so smooth. Couldn't get it to go.
Yeah, she was working on Ulabo there, and if the Roadrunners are going to fight their way back in this game.
Oh, goodness. Point blank has just been a problem for UTSA. Then it turns into a travel for Ulabo. I mean, they got a wide open layup in transition.
That's an unfortunate set of events there for the Roadrunners, and it's back to what we were saying is that they've had these looks, and they've definitely have opportunities to go and bite into this lead, but they've failed to capitalize.
UTSA has turned it over 10 times tonight. ACU 12, but 8 of those were in the first quarter. And we said it, if ACU doesn't turn it over, they're going to be fine offensively. They've really figured some things out on this end of the floor.
Ever since the end of the first quarter, they've really been dictating how this game is going.
And it's been this in the paint. This looks like a foul. And on Nay Sis, who checked in during that dead ball. Sis, a junior out of the Senegal, went to Gulf Coast State before making a stop at UTSA. Second foul on the Roadrunners of the third. Earl, is this the first 3 of the night? It is no good. That total keeps on a-coming. 0 for 19 combined between the two teams, and that's a charge. That is the 3rd charge taken by ACU tonight, and the 2nd taken by Griswold.
Just a lot more discipline, especially from the Wildcats. After they came out from that first quarter where they had those many fouls, they've been a lot more disciplined ever since.
Great call. There's Pimentel going a little out of control, trying to get that floater up there. Bella Earl, another attempt from distance. Earl's 0 for 2 from downtown. One of these is going to go. I don't know who's going to do it, but one of these is going to go eventually.
The entire team is due right now.
You and I, maybe one of us are going to go out there and shoot it. Let's see.
Maybe.
It's Pimentel going in, and Oh, it looked like there might have been some contact on the backside there, and I think that's what they're calling.
Yet another foul.
This is the first foul on Abilene Christian. Maybe they didn't call it. Maybe it's just the ball out of bounds. That's what it is. UTSA trying to find the paint. They found Tatum Barber instead. Barber, no. Pimentel rebounds. Rise and fire. There's something in the mid-range. And Jaden Pimentel been held in check for most of the night.
For sure.
He's got just 4 points on 2 of 8.
And she's been trying to break through, but this defense, this zone defense that the Wildcats have, really holding her off.
Griswold got fouled, I believe. In there by Sis. This is nice.
It's just a nice move there. Change of momentum, get the defender off of you, shake off of you for a nice, easy, open shot.
Earl, who's missed back-to-back threes, decides not to take a long 2. Barber can put it on the ground, and the mid-range is no good. UTSA needs to string a bunch of stops together, though, to have a chance, and then they're just missing those open looks.
More than the stops, they need to start getting their shots to start falling.
Had some opportunities, and Johnson just can't connect.
For sure.
Little turn, that's Earl, gets the roll. Bella Earl, first points of the night. One of the most decorated freshmen in their recruiting class from a year ago that Coach Goodenough talked to us about, just did everything at Denton Guyer High School.
For sure, and she's been doing everything here early in this season. She had quite a good showing against Southwestern on Tuesday, and she's done fairly good. Obviously hasn't capitalized from downtown, but she's done very good driving with the long 2s and getting good assists.
Griswold, long 2 that time. Rebound popped away, and it is a foul on Abilene Christian.
But already 4 fouls here in the early going for UTSA. They may get into bonus here quick, and like we already mentioned with the free throws, once they're in bonus, things start getting out of hand for the Roadrunners.
15 for 19 at the line is ACU tonight. A 17-point lead. UTSA led early for 59 seconds, and then that was it. ACU's led the rest of the way. Into the paint there with Blanding.
And that's what I think the Roadrunners need to start doing more of, is feeding Blanding down low in the paint.
Might open up some other stuff, too. Emma Middleton, leading scorer in the first half, draws a foul here. She'll shoot 2. And no matter if it's a shooting foul or not, it's 2 free throws the rest of the quarter for Abilene Christian. Boy, they have posts. ACU's got posts that can really put it on the bounce.
For sure, and we see Middleton there working on, like as we mentioned, Blanding, who's 6'5", and Middleton's able to find a way around her, go up and get to the foul line.
And Middleton, 6'2", she's got her height as well, but kind of shows a little finesse and some speed there. No good on the free throw.
And
her first miss tonight.
If you can get a big guy down low with finesse and with speed, especially if you can tag along shooting, that's a potent combination.
I mean, really, it's hard to believe if you looked at this score that none of this would happen from the outside just because of what you know about Abilene Christian. To me, this shows that maybe they can win different ways. I think that could be something to learn tonight from ACU. Here is in the paint with Blanding. You wanted more of it. You got it. It's an and 1.
She's going to go to the line here, and she's going to have a chance for a 3-point play. This could be a momentum changer, trying to get the Roadrunners back in this game. Or
foul on the floor. Can't believe they didn't give her that. But maybe it'll turn into a 3. No, it's not. It's short from Atwood. Oh, my goodness. I thought it would be a 3-point play. Opportunity into the paint. This is Valcheva, no good. Jump ball. We've seen a million jump balls tonight. Arrow stays with UTSA with 11 to shoot.
One of the more interesting matchups that we've started seeing pop up here in this third quarter is the Middleton on Blanding matchup. We just saw it there with that jump ball.
It's really been impressive to see both teams attack the paint, and ACU's just hitting shots and not turning it over, and UTSA is really just getting some open looks that aren't falling, and they're trying to solve that riddle. And I really can't wait to see who's going to hit the first three tonight. I can't wait to find out. But this 2-3 zone has really created some problems. ACU's doing a good job, and they're going to get a shot clock violation defensively as Blanding was there on the elbow and the time ran out.
And it really is. It is also interesting to see how the Wildcats went from hitting 17 at 13 in the first half this past game, and then they go completely 0 further past 10 from downtown.
Into the paint again.
And there's Middleton, and her name is being called a lot more often here in this third quarter.
Minutes were down a little bit Tuesday and only had a handful of points, did Middleton, but they've really given her a point of emphasis tonight. And, you know, it could be a little bit of a transition. Coming from a long-time Division II, now you're playing up at the Division I level for a year. It could be a little transition there, but she's handled it beautifully.
Especially in this game.
18-point lead. A 9-8 third quarter, ACU in front. Transition off the turnover. Earl, I think she walked. Yeah, she did. Gives it back to the Roadrunners.
That was a tough look there, and good defense by the Roadrunners. Forcing a 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 situation there down in the paint. Not much that Earl can do.
And you wonder if Earl got hit in the face a little bit right there. She was kind of holding it on her way back down the other end of the floor. Atwood goes to Pimentel. Atwood's going to hesitate, then line it up, and that's about how the night's gone for everybody. Shooting it from the outside. It goes over the backboard.
Basically, and it's been Pimentel and Atwood, and neither one of them really have had the confidence to start taking these longer shots. And I think if you do, you got to stop looking at that 0 in the threes column, and you've got to start being confident in yourself taking these shots if you want to work your way back in this game.
2-minute scoring drought for UTSA. Backdoor cut, ACU, open, corner three, Bonarens no. And I mean, this is wild.
It just may not happen at this point.
we may have given up on it. I mean, shooting's contagious, and maybe cold shooting's also contagious. Miraz trying to drive, draws a foul. I want to go back to your point on Atwood and Pimentel. They are a combined 3 for 13 from the floor and 0 for 8 from the three-point line. Those are two players that UTSA really needs to score to give them chances in these ball games.
For sure, and especially with Pimentel, it's not like she's having a horrible game. She's doing a very good job of getting the ball around. She has a few assists to her name. It's just when it comes to shooting, she needs to step it up at least a little bit in this game if she wants the Roadrunners to have a chance.
And has 4 fouls. That doesn't help either. Miraz, good on the first one. ACU on the verge of a 20-point lead. It would be their largest of the day. No good. And again, I put the ultimate kibosh on. I am the best at that.
Yeah.
If she makes it, it's a 20-point lead. Not so much. Offensive foul. Miller takes her second charge. That is the 4th offensive foul on UTSA tonight. Maddie Miller has always been known to those around this program. The hard worker, maybe doesn't score all the time, but look at this. 3 points tonight, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 charges taken.
Yeah, she's been everywhere, and that's what you're going to get when this is her 4th year here at ACU. She knows the system, she knows the coach, and she knows what they have to do to win.
Into the paint, Middleton circles that arc underneath. This ball's loose, that's a foul. It's going on Middleton, I believe, after she missed it. 2:32 left in the third.
And this was a very close game in the first quarter. Both teams were going back and forth, but what the Wildcats have done that the Roadrunners have yet to do is they've locked it down and they've stopped committing as many turnovers, which has obviously been detrimental here to the Roadrunners.
Can UTSA open something up? Johnson, she's also been held in check tonight as Morgan gets the board.
And Morgan has been one of the unsung heroes in this offense as well.
Middleton turns. That's a tough little hook. That goes off the backboard and in for Emma Middleton. What a night for her. Her second ball game as a Wildcat.
And you kind of see a little bit of this hesitation, even right there with the Roadrunners offense, as there is a...
I think it's a foul on Mikhail Kramer of ACU. Kramer, the freshman from Oklahoma City, into the ball game for the first time.
Foul on the play.
This is
take a look back.
Yeah, back to Middleton.
It's the sky hook.
Makes it look easy,
Yeah,
right?
Hakeem Olajuwon right there.
I don't think it's that easy.
No, but yeah, we see this little bit of hesitation that I think is starting to, mentally, it's taking a toll on these Roadrunners here, is that, you know, three-point line, it's kind of scary right now.
Haley Atwood to the stripe. That is no good. Yeah, UTSA tonight, just 2 for now 9 at the foul line. 1, they're not getting there a ton, and 2, they're not making them when they're there. That's a bad combination.
And the Wildcats are doing the exact opposite.
Minute and a half in the third that ACU has led 12-8. Into the paint. Miller, is this streak over? Yes!
Oh.
It's a 3. It's our first one of the night for either team.
Maddie Miller, the fourth-year senior, ending the drought here in the third quarter.
Baseline, there is how you break the zone. That's really good pressure and good passing to get it to the short corner and then inside, but no good, and ACU's coming the other direction. Even when they run it properly, it still hasn't gone in. It's been that night for UTSA. Morgan goes up into Beck. Here's the 3.
And they've had more wide open looks, especially in this game. They've had more wide open looks as they missed there, but that was a good contested 3, just textbook right there, gets it to land.
It came with 1:26 in the third. The first three-pointer of the game. Nearly 30 minutes in. Go figure. A wild Saturday around college sports. That pass is picked off. We watched a football game earlier today that had 7 turnovers.
Yeah.
And a crazy day. Miller thought about it. Morgan, corner, extra pass, and the triple.
And see, the yips works both ways is what we're talking about. So we see the Roadrunners, they're having their fair share of trouble shooting, but Wildcats, they hit one, and now they're all starting to rain down.
It's a 12-0 run. 5 seconds for UTSA. Long 2, no. Morgan's got it. ACU scores the final 12 of the third quarter and leads at 53-26. The fourth quarter is next on ESPN. We finally found a three-pointer in the ballgame. Maddie Miller broke that streak, hits one for ACU. That was the first one to fall. And then Taylor Morgan hit one for ACU. And the Wildcats have a 27-point lead going to the fourth.
And basketball is very often a game of streaks. And what we're seeing right now from the Roadrunners side of the ball is they are not being able to hit their shots. They still have 26 points. They have in a little bit of a scoring drought here. And then we see Abilene Christian, the Wildcats, on the other side of the ball. Wasn't able to hit the 3 ball for the longest time. Now they hit 2. Expect to see a lot more going into the fourth quarter.
Glad you're with us for WAC Women's Hoops on ESPN. Zach Carlisle, Cohen Carpenter, the whole gang, ACUTV student-run crew led by Hutton Harris, Will King, and the gang from Abilene, Texas, on a Saturday night early on in the college basketball season. This 13th of November. Game 2 for both of these teams early on, but what a way to start for UTSA. SFA, undefeated Southland champs a year ago. Abilene Christian, 3-time Southland champion. You go on the road. They've got Texas State next, then UIW, and then they're going to Minnesota. I mean, my goodness, what a rigorous start to the year for the Roadrunners.
It's a good way, especially for first-time coach there at UTSA, Karen Aston. It's a good way to test the mettle of her team, see what she really has, going through the gauntlet really in the early part of the season.
Foul off the ball on an inbound to Miller. And I believe it's Barber who gets knocked down. Did she get knocked down by Cyan Mass, 22 in navy blue? 20 seconds into this fourth. You know, we kind of came in talking about it. You're going to learn a little bit more about your team, in particular from the ACU side, right? So they come in and play Southwest from the NAIA. Probably not going to learn much about you. I mean, your season's not going to be defined by tonight, but I feel like you learn a little bit more about your team. And for Julie Goodenough, here's Miller for three. Another, her second. Then there's a foul as well, and the foul's off the ball. Does the three count?
We'll have to see here.
They haven't added it yet.
And there they go.
There it is. The three counts, and then the foul on UTSA off the ball gives ACU the ball again.
UTSA already with 2 fouls here in the fourth.
Miller starting to heat up a bit. Well, they're going right back to Miller, and that's no good that time. Little heat check there for Maddie, and the ball is a jump ball. The arrow's going to go to UTSA. Let's go back to that point a little bit, though. Again, it's game 2, but I feel like if you're Julie Goodenough, you're going to learn a little bit more tonight, and for her, it's got to be a lot to like.
For sure, and like you said, Southwestern not really going to see what you have here, and this isn't going to determine the entire season, but it's definitely a good starting point.
That's all November is, right? It's just a lot of fun to have basketball back and see who's got some pretty good players. That's a little mid-range, long two, Emily Beck, the junior from Denmark. First-year Roadrunner. Backdoor cut, that's Kramer, that's an and one. Wonderful pass.
And that's just a great pass there by Maddie Miller. Way to find the open player, make her shot a little more easy.
Chance at a hoop and a harm and a three-point play. It's a 30-point lead for Abilene Christian. You know, we kind of came in thinking, were these two teams pretty evenly matched? What are we expecting to see here tonight? Abilene Christian, really from the get-go, has really looked good.
And I think one of the bigger positives that Coach Goodenough is going to take away from this game is being able to overcome adversity. Obviously, we've talked about it the whole game. They struggled to shoot the 3 ball early on. They overcame that. They found other ways of facilitating their offense, and I think that's going to be great as you move on at the season, especially in the conference play, the tournament play. When things are thrown at you, you've got to be able to overcome it.
Mid-range, no good. From Atwood, who has had a tough night. We've highlighted it, 1 for 6 from the floor. Barber wants a 3. All right, now they're falling for ACU. They're over the 60-point barrier, and their lead is 33. Pimentel fakes one. And the Queen Udoba, and that is a foul.
And the Roadrunners are going to need what Maddie Miller did for the Wildcats. They're going to need the same thing down there. They're going to need to make one of those shots that gets their entire offense going.
All of a sudden, ACU starting to figure it out from the three-point line.
For sure, and the Roadrunners need to do the same thing.
They've hit 4 of their last 5 from distance. After starting over 10. Free throws here for Queen Ulabo, the junior. Gets it to go. Her night, 8 points so far. 3 out of 6 from the floor, 6 rebounds in just 11 minutes. Abilene Christian looking to start 2-0. And that's been pretty common under Julie Goodenough. That ball is nearly thrown away. Barber, little Euro no.
I believe it'll be their 5th 2-0 start. Past 5 seasons in a row for these Wildcats under Goodenough.
Yeah, it will be if they get it done tonight, which it looks as though they will. 5 in a row. The 2-0 start. Schedule lightens up a little bit too with Angelo State next Wednesday here in Abilene. They call that their kids game here in Abilene, Texas. So it'll be local kids from elementary schools in the area that come to the game at 11 a.m. You got to imagine this place will be pretty loud for that game. I would have been thrilled to take a vacation or to take a field trip, I should say, like that as a kid in elementary school.
Yeah, Teague Center can't sit a lot of people, but I'm sure with all those kids in there, it'll feel like Moody's completed.
No kidding. Yeah, that's a great point to talk about too, because this is the temporary home for Abilene Christian. Teague Special Event Center. That is an offensive foul. Prior to that give and go from Miraz to Miller, offensive foul first. Moody Coliseum undergoing the renovation still. They were hoping to say it would be done by maybe early to mid-January, but no official timetable. And so the Teague Center it is for the foreseeable future for Abilene Christian. And UTSA gets a 3 to go. How about it from LaPrasia Johnson, who finally knocks one home. We were waiting for them. We knew they'd come.
They would come, but with 7 minutes here in the fourth quarter, may have came too late.
I think we kind of may have given up late in the third quarter. I didn't know if we'd see it. Then all of a sudden, they've started to fly. Timeout on the floor as ACU leads it 61 to 32. We're 3 minutes into quarter number 4. And we are. There they are. They're the folks behind the scenes. They make us sound and look a lot better than we are, I promise you that. The ACUTV or studio here at Abilene Christian, running our entire ESPN broadcast over the course of the season. So you take a peek in there, and now you take a peek into us. Zach Carlisle, Cohen Carpenter, glad to have you with us. ACU, I mean, a 29-point lead. This team's looked great tonight.
Yeah, for sure, and we can't say it enough. They have adapted well. They couldn't rely on their 3-ball like they did last Tuesday, and they've driven in the paint, they've shot long twos, and what is very important is they've stopped fouling so much like they were in the first quarter.
Yeah, the turnovers and the fouls have definitely changed the tune a little bit as ACU leads it 61 to 32. They're outscoring UTSA so far 8-6 in the fourth quarter. More importantly, they're holding UTSA to 26% shooting. I mean, it's really been a clinic on that side of the floor, a defensive clinic. I don't know that you've been saying that a ton about Abilene Christian women's basketball over the years. There's a travel.
For sure, and this wasn't a spectacular shooting team, the Roadrunners, coming into this game, but to hold anybody to 26% shooting is fantastic.
You're doing something right, aren't you, on that end of the floor, for sure. Jamie Bonnerins to bring things up is loose.
Going to be a travel call there.
Yeah, that is a turnover. Well, we talked about it. They weren't turning it over, and then they turned it over.
We're both jinxing.
That's right. We're really good at this. Enjoy us all season long, folks. This will be Atwood. See if UTSA just try to execute in the half court a little bit. Take something with you on the road back home. Tonight, Coleman into the paint. That's a foul. They head up to the line. ACU 3 turnovers in the last couple of minutes. Middleton returning to that Wildcat lineup.
With that foul, both teams are in bonus now with 6:19 left to play.
First free throw up and in for Elisa Coleman, the redshirt freshman from Humble, Texas, and a transfer from the University of Texas, former Longhorn turned Roadrunner. It's a couple.
And one of the more interesting storylines coming out of this game is UTSA coming in here. They have Alyssa Coleman and they have Elena Blanding, both of which 6'5" and 6'3" respectively. They have a lot more height, but Wildcats still managing to outscore them in the paint.
Into the corner, Bonnerins for 3, no. Who's getting this ball? It's either Middleton or Atwood. It's a fight for it. And it'll stay at this end with the Wildcats. Middleton, no.
Roadrunners looking to speed things up here with 5:52 left.
Right wing, is it a 3? No, long 2. They're calling it for Coleman.
Roadrunners right now need to focus on forcing more turnovers from the Wildcats, as they might have right there. It's going to be a foul.
Yeah, foul on Emily Beck. Bella Earl draws it, so she will shoot 2. Johnson back into the lineup.
Yeah, but if you're the Roadrunners right now, if you're Karen Aston, the head coach, you're going to need to start focusing on forcing these turnovers out of the Wildcats and creating offense fast.
Earl, an impressive-looking freshman.
Cousin to quarterback here.
That's
Stone
right.
Earl.
Her cousin Stone Earl came into the season with the ACU football team as a starting quarterback before getting hurt in the 6th week of the season. ACU football getting a win, I should say, today over Tarleton. 29-3. Had that one for you on ESPN Plus earlier today. Now a corner 3 from Johnson is her second from downtown. Now we're starting to see him fall a little bit here as we hit the 5-minute mark of the 4th.
And I feel like now both the teams this is more characteristic of how their offense was playing, whereas the first 3 quarters maybe not so much.
Miraz a 3 to try to answer. Rebound hauled in by Coleman. UTSA definitely playing better these last few minutes.
For sure. But there's going to be a turnover, I believe, there.
Yeah, looks like it. That's going to take us to a timeout. ACU comfortably in front, final. ACU in front of UTSA late here in quarter number 4. Take a look at this Roadrunners schedule coming up. Look at this, Texas State going to San Antonio. And then they're going to host UIW, who will come from across town over to UTSA's campus. And then they're going to the Minnesota from the Big Ten BTN Plus on November the 28th. ACU, we mentioned that 11 a.m. game against Angelo State next Wednesday. Then they're going to Kansas State the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And then off they will go to a Thanksgiving tournament hosted by Oral Roberts in Tulsa, Oklahoma for matchups with Little Rock and Arkansas State.
And that's why this game was pretty important for the Wildcats. This is a real opponent that they got to see, what they're made of before they head into that tournament.
Rebound for UTSA. A kick to the corner, and then the drive from Mast is no good. Pimentel with the board. She's been playing with 4 fouls for quite a while. Johnson draws a late foul.
And as the Roadrunners start to heat up, both teams really, but as the Roadrunners start to heat up from 3, we're starting to see them shots not really falling in the paint. These shots that they really need to get, the shots that they want to get, not falling.
It was so strange because it felt like they were executing, right? It felt like they would run the set and it would actually get them an open look, and the shot just wouldn't go. And I feel like as a coach, you don't want to chalk it up and just say it's one of those nights, but you at least feel like it was something that is not going to happen every single night. So those shots are going to fall on other nights, but as long as your execution was there, they might feel good about that a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It's not like it was a complete breakdown of their game plan.
They weren't in the right spots.
For sure. They were in the right spots. They were making great passes, getting great open looks, just like you said, not able to capitalize.
Open Paige Borski for 3. Well, yeah, she wants to join in on the fun.
Laying it on here late is the Wildcats.
That is the first points of the game for Borski. The New York kid who It's in her second year with Abilene Christian. Lob inside, catch, and off the glass. Elisa Coleman. When they execute, they get it to their bigs. They got a chance to do some things.
For sure.
Pass tapped and taken away. Banderans, now it's loose. Oh, this is, look at that. Somehow, UTSA, oh my goodness. Does that not describe the night for the Roadrunners or what? Mass was able to come up wide open somehow off of a pinball and misses a wide open layup.
Yeah, like you said, perfect description for the night for the Roadrunners.
Ball's tapped off of Maddie Miller out of bounds. Goes back to UTSA.
And there's another turnover there, but they were able to force a turnover. Good effort, like we said. They playing good defense, but when it's time to come offense, when it's time to put points on the board, can't do it.
Timeout Abilene Christian. With this 23-point lead with 3:17 to play. I'm interested, I'm looking at these turnover totals, 18 for each side. But the points off of the turnovers, just 13 to 12. UTSA in front in that category. The turnovers aren't hurting either team really. I mean, in a 23-point game, you'd think they might be hurting UTSA a little bit. They're really not. Turnovers have been irrelevant, even though there's been 36 of them tonight.
Yeah, an insane number, but fast break points, not a lot of them in this game. Most of the offense that has been created has been, hey, let's slow it down, let's pass it to all of our players, let's get those clean open looks, and let's be efficient with our shooting.
Just 19 fast break points total between the teams here tonight. Middleton with 13 leads the way for ACU. Johnson with 12 to lead the way for UTSA. Pimentel, no. Johnson thought about it. Back to the 2-3 zone goes ACU. Pimentel, 3. Not even close, but the putback there for Coleman is in.
Getting in more of this aggressive press look here for the Roadrunners as things get desperate here with 2:40 left.
Force a turnover. Pimentel's had a rough shooting night. 0 for 5 from the three-point line, 2 for 9 from the floor. That's a kick and a 3. Atwood, no. Boy, those two combined, it's been rough. That's now 0 for 10 from distance between the two, Atwood and Pimentel.
They were two of the players that we were highlighting coming into this game that if they were going to have good games, the Roadrunners were going to have good games. But both of them, as you stated, haven't done what they needed to do when it comes to shooting, and that's why you see 66-45 there.
2.5 to go tonight. This will be free throws for Coleman. The Texas transfer. You get aggressive and go get some transfers, grad transfers, however you want to do it. But I'm counting them on this UTSA team. I'm counting 11 transfers for the Roadrunners. And on the ACU side, let's see if I can count them up. 5. And 3 of them are those grad transfers. They really do a lot more developing. Now, it'll be interesting to see how Karen Aston wants to build this program. In year one, obviously, you got some things to try to solve and figure out. But so we'll see how she wants to go after it and try to build this thing up.
And transfers are a very attractive prospect for any basketball coach, especially when it's compared to high school players, because when you're looking at high school players, you're looking at raw talent. But when you look at transfers, and especially grad transfers, they've played college basketball. They know college basketball. They know the opponents, the schemes, which is a lot different than high school, and things change. So when you're getting one of those players, you're getting what really is a veteran that could help your team go a long way.
Yeah, and I think, too, there's more expectations when you go and get transfers. They are expected to come in and really contribute right away. Sometimes you might expect that from a freshman, but maybe not a whole freshman class. A lot of times you come in and maybe you don't play as much or you play sparingly and you can learn. They're looking at this foul. It's on Cameron Baraz as Johnson hit the floor. And they're looking to see if there's any type of extracurricular or if this should be a type of flagrant foul.
Yeah, Johnson took what looked like a pretty nasty hit there. I saw her.
I wouldn't mind taking another peek at that, but
grabbing her nose or her face there for a second.
Look at it again. You see it. Ooh.
Wow. Mirage
took that elbow, looks like.
From that angle, it looks like she threw a nasty haymaker.
You know, they'll look for intent. Hard to tell. And again, you got different options. You can call it a flagrant 1, flagrant 2.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that would be intentional.
Oh yeah,
yeah, definitely
hard to tell. It was a little fast, but yeah.
Some contact to the face there. Yeah, but again, hard to believe that it'd be intentional again in a 66-45 game.
That's how you have fun at the Teague Center.
Roadrunner fan too. Making the most out of her night.
That's right. I'll tell you what, and they do a good job at the Teague Center. It's hard, you know, you don't have your video boards, and you don't have your big arena, and you have a lot less opportunities to fill it. And, you know, it only holds about 1,000 or so, but it's a good time over there. They did a really good job with that facility.
Yeah, for sure. And for the caliber, both of the men and the women's team, the caliber of both of these teams to house in such a facility, obviously it takes a lot of preparation. I feel like they did a good job with this auxiliary court.
And who knows how long they're going to be playing here this year, depending on when Moody Coliseum does get done. Still taking a look, and that looks like they've come to some type of
the ref is explaining it to Good Enough. Good Enough looks like she doesn't agree.
And based on Coach Goodenough's body language, it doesn't look like it's going to go ACU's way. So not a flagrant, but an intentional foul on Miraz. That's odd. Surprised they went with that decision. Just when you thought we'd be cruising these final 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. But
we hit the stop sign.
Glad it wasn't a flagrant because, forgive me if I'm wrong, but flagrant comes with an ejection. So
right.
Miraz gets to stay in the game if it's not a flagrant. But again, obviously, the most important thing, we're glad that Johnson's okay after taking a blow to the face there. And now they're coming back to the court.
It took a while to sort it out, but it is an intentional foul on Cameron Miraz, number 0. So it's LaPrasia Johnson at the line. No good. It is a 7 for 18 night at the line, and now 8 for 19 for UTSA tonight. 38%.
And that's one of the areas that you knew when coming into this game, the Wildcats and the Roadrunners, there was a discrepancy there with their free throw shooting percentages. The Wildcats were averaging just over 70%, while the Roadrunners were only averaging just over 50%.
And I think a lot of teams, you know, people say that 60, if you're in the 60s, you're not a good free throw shooting team. UTSA after tonight might be somewhere in the 40s.
Shaquille O'Neal range.
Season.
Not AKA not where you want to be.
Yeah, you definitely want that line to go up as the season goes. Good thing it's early on. Near steal, Atwood kicks it. Pimentel finds it in, and that is off the glass for Ulabo. Credit UTSA, this was a 33-point game at one point.
Yeah, it's definitely narrowed the margin here a little bit.
Back to 18.
There is a foul.
Foul on the Roadrunners off the ball.
Yeah, and like you said, it was a larger lead. Now it's shrunk a little bit, but that is big in the sense that now Coach Goodenough's got to keep more of her starters in there to make sure they stay a distance away, whereas if they would have stayed a 35-point difference, they probably could have played some of their backups and got a little more reps, and which could have helped their outlook as the season went on.
So Miraz at the line, 3 points tonight. And now all of them have come at the foul line. She's 3 for 5 at the stripe. They're going to rely on her to run that point guard spot out of Little River, Texas. 4th year with the program. Lead is 19. Pimentel is going to keep on a launch, and that one goes. Jaden Pimentel's first 3 of the game after missing her first 5.
And they're keeping with this press look here, just putting a little bit more defense on the Wildcats, trying to force more errors like there wasn't there.
Ball's tapped out of bounds. I tell you what, yeah, they've really made this at least a competitive game again. ACU has not hit a field goal in 2.5 minutes. 17 to shoot it here with 1.5 minutes to go. And a foul first. Boy, there's been a lot of whistles tonight.
Mm-hmm. And with 128 and you're down 16, you got to think that you've got to be 100% with all your shots on offense going forward from here.
That is 48 fouls in the game.
The line for the Wildcats, Tatum Barber.
Tatum Barber at the line. Barber hits a pair. Lead back to 18. Drive left. Johnson had that tapped away, and that's going to go off of Coleman out of bounds.
It was good ball movement right there by the Roadrunners. They were able to get an easier shot down low in the paint from one of their bigs. Just couldn't come up with it.
I think we saw enough good from UTSA to say that if they can execute the half court and just hit some of those shots, they're going to be a factor in Conference USA. That's going to be a tough league this year for sure. At ACU, it feels like their outlook's pretty good too with the amount of talent they have on the floor.
For sure. Just cleaning up some of the sloppy mistakes for the Roadrunners.
A minute to go tonight. Eight to shoot it for Miller, left hand,
Ooh.
And a tough finish. Final 40 seconds. Lob inside. Ulabo, no, foul first. Two free throws coming. So ACU on their way to a 2-0 start for the 5th straight year. You get into that Thanksgiving time, it gets really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's early tournaments. I really enjoy the non-conference basketball, college basketball season. Teams that don't get to play each other. It's really enjoyable to watch. You go play some tournaments, you travel a little bit. I think it's going to be a fun November and December before WAC play will begin on December the 30th.
Interesting matchups that you wouldn't see otherwise for sure. And I think tonight the Wildcats certainly had a chance to put up 99 again like they did on Tuesday. It's just they came out early and they had a lot of mental busts, a lot of mistakes, turnovers. We made that pretty clear. 71 points is not too shabby though, especially with a 20-point victory. As there's a scrum for the ball there at midcourt.
It looked like Bella Earl got fouled. Of course there's a foul call with 30 seconds to go.
That's been the story of the game. But you can say the same thing for the Roadrunners as well. This definitely could have easily been not a 53-point game. Very easily could have been a 70-point game. Like we mentioned, the Wildcats have committed a lot of fouls themselves, but not a lot of fast break points. And they've done a good job creating open looks on offense. It's just if they get the shooting percent up, and if they don't shoot 26%, this could have been a different game.
Earl good on the first one.
UTSA rebound.
And basically no difference between the game and a shot clock. In fact, no shot clock as they properly turn it off. That is a long 2. No good from Atwood. Final seconds are going to tick off, and Abilene Christian goes to 2-0, and UTSA drops to 0-2 on the very young season. The final score tonight is Abilene Christian 72, UTSA 53. This has been a presentation of the Western Athletic Conference on ESPN. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. Until next time, Zach Carlisle, Cohen Carpenter, the whole crew led by Hutton Harris saying so long, take care, good night from Abilene, Texas.